Whole school professional development with the Raymond Lewis, as I said, was took place last year. We'd already made inroads to adopting some of his practices, and we continue to work with that and made that a standard practice in the school across all year levels. The year level managers have made sure that they've ensured that they've adhered to those practices, as well as the classroom teacher. And as I said, there's posters everywhere that the students know that if this is what I do, or I'm out of line, or whatever the case may be, this is the way it'll be dealt with. So it's fairly standard procedure. I'll now pass on to Adrian, who will speak further to literacy.
Thank you. So the scene is set in terms of the whole school and particularly students, because basically our focus is on student learning, and it is student learning. The students understand that behaviour management is important to support their learning, and that was there to bring them on board as well. So a whole school professional development program involved quite a lot of organisation, but it linked up with the performance and development culture that we started last year, basically where teachers were understanding where they were in improving teaching and learning, and would have a discussion at the start of the year about where they would like to go. Be aware of the AiZ program. As I said, we have embraced the AiZ, and that is always a front feature when we have our leadership meetings, so therefore staff understand over the last 18 months that that's been very important, and everything we do with the professional development has a student focus and is basically all about improving teaching and learning, pedagogy and so on. So we incorporated that in within our PD. On Monday and Tuesdays we will focus specifically on teaching and learning. Fortnightly last year, say, was specific HRLTPs with Mara and Rebecca. This year particularly, the literacy strategies have been again whole school, but also really looked at particularly in the PLTs as well. We have a whole school looking at system level data. All staff are very interested and really understand the importance of knowing how to interpret data and how to look at it. So it's all inclusive in terms of looking at the SLR, NAPLAN and online testing. We have established our PLT models, and basically within our whole school PD might include all the staff. Then we also break into 3 teams within that time. We have the 7 and 8 team focusing on literacy, the Year 9 team for literacy, and the Year 7 to 9 literacy team. Now that in the long term is building up relationships and discussion and understanding of interpreting data and analysing it and so forth. So to support the development of our triads and also building the relationships so people are comfortable going into each other's classroom and so forth. So that's where we're saying we're consolidating the peer support program in terms of, for example, Mara works very closely with the Year 7 and 8 literacy or English teacher, and apart from being in the professional learning team for literacy, is observing classrooms, classroom procedures, practices, reflecting on that, and Loretta certainly gets a lot of feedback. They evaluate how they've gone, and they're building that up. So it is reciprocal, but then the idea is to come back to the rest of the staff, which we have talked to them about, to model that and to support others in their improving, having that proper professional discussion about what's going on in the classroom. Okay. I'll just go back a little bit here. That's okay, I'll move on. Right. With the literacy achievements, we have been very aware of using POLT. We had a whole school POLT survey at the start of the year to see where our students were in the individual classrooms, and then get an idea of looking at the data to see how engaged our students were. So a lot of the professional discussion has been about how do we know that our students are actually enjoying what they're doing. For example, we'll use the Getting Knowledge Ready surveys that were available from John, and we ask ourselves things, for example, are they immediately interested when they are new to start a topic? Do they feel good about themselves, that they actually can, that their knowledge is actually appreciated, and that they can build on what they've already previously known. So we ask teachers to really think about what's going on in their classroom, and by students behaving well, being actively engaged, by having some fun, completing the work and so forth, we can work out that that's actually happening. It's anecdotal at the moment. We want to develop better ways to really document our literacy achievements, but it's ongoing. It's our journey at the moment to improve that. Students can identify and utilise some of the HRLTP. This is basically, for example, in my classroom I teach personal learning, one of my subjects. I'm an art craft teacher, but I actually have my students starting off the lesson with Getting Knowledge Ready, and I'm actually getting them to model that themselves. I've done it, I was hoping to have that video available today, but I'm going to send that to Lena so she can have a little look. And they are going to talk about drugs and alcohol and so forth, but under the umbrella of those topics and those headings, they're actually going to deliver their PowerPoint displays using that language. So that means that I know students feel empowered, that they actually know how to utilise those strategies, and it helps them have a further understanding of what they need to do. Students use strategy to make meaning in other subject areas, so across the curriculum. That's particularly with the PD from last year, that it's those strategies that they've learnt in one class with perhaps me or Mara or Loretta or the maths team, that they can actually they can use that in other subjects other than the main ones that they're learning those about. There's a growing awareness of the importance of literacy in learning across the school. That's a good thing at the moment with our achievements. Numeracy. Okay, so we've had a whole school professional development at the start of the year, and also with Peter, who came to our school. I'm very thankful that he did. He was able to spend time with the maths staff to have very valuable conversations, and also look at have a conversation at the end of the day with staff, talking about how we can actually use maths or emphasise maths, or identify how you could use maths a little bit more thoroughly in your classroom. For example, visual communication, measurement, and so forth. So that we've discussed that further since Peter visited us. So basically, in our professional learning team, we use the logs, of course, but we use the data to identify teaching strategies. I think that speaks for itself. And online testing, we have developed a team so that staff know how to access data themselves, so that don't have to wait for one person to disseminate the information. Also, one of the pluses this year was staff really felt far more confident to be able to work out what VALS levels the students are at, and that's been that constant discussion about looking at setting tests for students and then understanding where the students are at.